What is up? What is up? Having some issues with my chat. Let me fix this real quick. Looks like we are online on all channels, but still I gotta fix this chat. Doing some beat critiques today. Link is in the description for you guys to submit via Twitter. If that is an issue, let me know. But I definitely prefer you guys to submit your links and beats through Twitter. Actually, it looks like I might not be live on all stations. Yeah, it looks like I'm not live on Facebook. Nope. Yeah, I am. Just took a while. What's up? What's up? My email's in the description at the bottom. Let's see here. Yeah, the chat still is not... Oh, the chat is working. Okay. Chat is working. Yeah, feel free to submit as many beats as you want. It really does not matter. What's going on, SLP? You guys both use FL Studio, right? Maki, Larry, and SLP? Let me know if you guys are subscribed to FL Studio's YouTube channel, or if you have them on Twitter, because they just released something pretty cool last night. Either of you guys know what that is? I'm actually going to pull it up right now. There's actually 3 different things that I just got last night that were all free. All of them from the same dude, actually. Not sure if you guys remember who Seamless is. He has a YouTube channel, Seamlesser. Or Seamless R, however you want to pronounce it. He tries to go by Seamless nowadays, though. But he just released a pack for Flex. Took me a while to download it because I tried downloading it as soon as they announced it, and there was just so many people that were trying to download it all at the same time. It took me a while to actually get it going. But it's basically a dubstep pack. One of the things that I recommend before you even start messing around with the pack, go into the channel settings and switch this stuff around, because like the basses will overlap themselves. even though it says cut itself. But you can fix that just by changing the polyphony to 1. And switching it to mono. Yeah. Change the polyphony to 1 and switch to mono. Oh yeah, that's right, SLP. You use FL Studio Mobile. Or you use mobile to make your beats. That's right. That's right. I remember now. But yeah, these are meant for dubstep, but actually let me switch to one of these. I need to go into his pack. It's called Monsters, but they're dubstep basses, but they sound pretty good for trap too. You just gotta edit them a little bit. That was really loud. These sound really different to me all of a sudden. Not sure why. I'm guessing it's... hold on. But yeah, if you go into these pattern settings and you just turn these down, you don't get that dubstep modulation, which is kind of annoying if you're trying to do like ordinary trap or hip hop. Let me turn these down too. Then you just have a consistent sound right there. Alright, Maki, I'll check those in a second. I feel like these sound different through my what's this called? Through my broadcasting software. Mainly because one of these in particular I was a huge fan of, and now it sounds like crap. I want to say it might have been this one. I should have saved it when I had it. I think it was this one. still sounds incredibly different than what I was remembering last night. Yeah, I think I like my synth basses better, unfortunately. I was a lot more excited when I first heard the pack last night. Let me go back up here. Because I was going to do like an extra tutorial this weekend just for this pack. And I still might. I just need to find which sounds I really like. But yeah. Another thing that he made kind of recently, I want to say it was within the past month, he has this kick drum maker and a snare drum maker. Just to let you guys see what that looks like. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't, including myself. But yeah, I'm going to try and start using it a lot more because I think they're the best sounds in FL Studio right now. Let's see, where did I save those? I could have sworn I saved... Oh, I saved them in the wrong folder. Yeah, because I saved them in... Okay. I need to move these. I saved them as an effect, but it's actually a instrument, not an effect. Watching his demos, they sounded kind of weird, but I'm hoping that when I dig into them, I can manipulate them a lot better than what I was hearing with the options that he has. Yeah, projects. And then let's go into... crap. Data. Patches. Plugin presets. Effects. Yeah, that was definitely my mistake. Patcher. Okay, it's in a different data folder. Data, FL Studio. Presets. Plugin presets. Effects. Patcher. Here they are. Kick maker and snare maker. Cut those out. Put those in generators. Patcher. Paste those there. Alright, now I should be able to see those. I might have to reload the plugin. Nope, pops right in. That's awesome. Maki Larry says, I'm actually pissed at ReFX. I bought Nexus and preset packs altogether, like 300 to 400. Broke my iLock. They said buy a new one. I did, and old one, I don't know where it's at. Yeah, iLock sucks. Mainly for that reason. This project has been created with a more recent version of FL Studio. 93. I have 1125, and it's not likely to open correctly. Let's see what happens. Should still work anyway. Yeah, that's what I figured. Still worked. The versions are too close together for it not to work. CPU's crazy, but that might be due to the version that I'm using. Yeah, I'm gonna say that it's definitely because of the version that I'm using, so I need to go back to the website and download the new version. I don't think my skin will work with it though. Yeah, these are very like EDM type snares. Let's see if we could switch some things around, and you can see the back end's like crazy, but let's see if we could just figure this out on our own. Let me spread this out. So yeah, the fundamental right here, pitch, range, phase, saturation, length's not really changing anything either. High pass, cutoff. Yeah, if I used this plugin, it would take me freaking forever to get a snare that I like. It might actually even be impossible to get a snare that I like. I was more interested in the kick maker. Metal. It's a lot better. Big verb. That's pretty cool. And then small verb. That's kind of how I had my template set up back in the day, with a big reverb and a small reverb. I actually have a reverb tutorial coming up. That's not bad. It's not bad, but definitely more geared towards creating an EDM snare. At least in terms of speed, it's faster to get an EDM snare than a hip-hop snare off the bat. Let me switch this back to default, and then we'll get into these beats. Bring back my browser. Yeah, I remember that, Harsh. Did you resend it, or is it still the same email that you sent before? I'm assuming it's just the same email that you already sent. All right, Maki Larry. Trying to read your email here. What I want to know is, You're asking, your question is, you have a problem finding specific snare or kicks or 808s in certain trap tracks. So Maki Larry, are you saying that you're trying to find, like, you're listening to a track and you're trying to find that exact snare? Is that what you're saying? Or are you saying you're just having trouble finding quality snares and kicks and 808s? Because those are two very different things. Harsh, are you still in here? Because I didn't get a new email from you. I'm trying to find your old one. Okay, I think I just found it. Yeah, I just found it. No Pulse Juice World type beat. Quality. Yeah, it's good. Oh, okay. Maki Larry had to go to work. I gotcha. His email was really confusing. Uh, let me see. Let me pull up that email again. It sounds like he's trying to pay me for a service, but I don't think that that's something that is worth paying for a service. I think he just needs advice, like simple advice. He says my question is I have a problem finding specific snare samples or kicks or 808s or how they mix hats in certain trap tracks. So when he says he's having trouble finding specific samples, I don't know if he's talking about the exact sample from a specific song. Like that, I can't help you with. I have no idea like what specific samples people are using in terms of drum hits. Like I really don't pay attention to that. Unless it's overdone, like the chop snare, spins 808, rack kick. Like there's very few samples that I recognize in terms of drum hits. A guy that would be really good at that, Sound Oracle. He's actually live right now. I was actually watching Sound Oracle and Triza right before I hopped on here. Sound Oracle was a sound designer for Timbaland. He's actually one of the reasons why I got into sound design. Other than that, the only advice that I could give him, if he's just looking for good drum samples, I mean, there's so many free ones right now. You could just Google trap kits. Like the thing about trap drum hits, drum samples, they're so easy to make. Like you could even take bad ones and just do some layering and you'll have good drums. Actually, let's do that right now. I'm going to take a really horrible sample. All we have to do is just go into my packs here, the FL Studio packs. I actually plan on doing like a beat challenge with the FL Studio drums here sometime soon. Like, these mode audio drums are actually pretty good. But let's go into the legacy drums, the ones that no one really messes around with. Go into hip hop. These kits are pretty good too. And mixing, and the vintage drums, real drums, if you layer those. But let's just take a kick. Like, any of these would work. Just load that up. And we'll make this hit. Reset that. Slow down the tempo here. Or actually, yeah, let me just slow down the tempo. Loop that. Change that to 128. And turn that down a little bit. So the first thing that you hear, yeah, that's my point, Harsh. Yeah, you can make any sound better. But the first thing that you hear in this drum sample is like that air at the end. So it just makes the kick sound soft. So the first thing that you would want to do is take that out. And then you can go into these envelopes and make it hit harder at the beginning with a pitch, which is basically what a kick is, at least a synthesized kick. It's just a sine wave being pitched down really quickly from the beginning. So in the pitch envelope, we just turn up the pitch, move the attack forward, and you can already kind of hear what's going on in terms of the attack, making it hit harder at the beginning. Then we're just going to shape this envelope with the decay. And then let's just listen before and after. So this is after and before. And then you could increase that. We're going to mess with the tension of the decay. Leave it right there for now. Go into pre-computed effects, boost it a little bit, mess with the EQ, cut off, take out some of the high end. And the resonance can make it hit harder too, depending on where your cutoff is. And then when it comes to sound design, like, I don't use a lot of compression for mixing, but for sound design, I love using compression. So let's go ahead and let's beef this up even more with Wave Shaper, and then we'll compress it to shape the sound even more. But we're just using Wave Shaper just to add some harmonics to it. And then let's turn that down. And then let's add a little bit of EQ before we go into the compressor. That just tightened up the low end a little bit. It'll make the kick hit harder if it's a little more focused. And then we're going to look for where it's really knocking. We're going to leave that boosted quite a bit. How far up is that? So that's a 7 dB boost. And that's something that happens sometimes with sound design. I wouldn't necessarily do that in mixing, but if you're trying to make something from scratch or trying to edit a sample, sometimes I do go crazy with the EQ. We're going to take out some of the muddiness around here. Around anywhere from 2 to 500 hertz. There's usually some mud. And then there's like this weird sound that I'm hearing at in the top end, so I'm going to try and find it and take that out. I think it's right around here. There we go. Now we got a solid ass kick. Then you can add a little bit more knock right around here too, from what I was hearing. Let me reset that. Change this to a peak filter. Peaking. And now let's look at some compression. I'm going to use Fruity Limiter, nothing special. I actually just dropped a tutorial on free plugins. I'm going to show you guys one of my favorite compressors out of those plugins. But let me just do this with Fruity Compressor real quick, or Fruity Limiter. So what we have here, we have a high attack setting that lets the peak, the transient of the kick come through. And then I'm going to shorten this release and probably take out all the sustain, but I might increase the attack even more. There we go. Yeah, it's kind of flabby without the compression. And then when we add it back in, it's just a lot more focused. Or not a lot more focused, but it's a little more focused for sure. Well, let me bring up this other compressor that you guys might like. It's the TDR feedback compressor. I actually didn't mention this in the tutorial. I showed some of the other compressors, but this is from one of the companies that I was talking about. But we're going to do the same concept. Let's bring the threshold. Increase the attack. Decrease the release. Maybe increase the ratio just a little bit. And let's just compare that with the other, with Fruity Limiter. They're about the same with that example. I do like the feedback compressor a little bit better. Yeah, I think it's hitting harder with the feedback compressor. But yeah, this is my favorite compressor that I own, paid or free. Off of that, hopefully, if he's watching this replay, he'll be able to make his own kick, no problem. Then I should probably show him a snare drum too. But a lot of snares and trap music, they're really layered with claps. Yeah, these are horrible, but they all could work. You just gotta work at it. At the end of the day, you're just better off downloading free kits if you're having trouble finding drum hits. I have like 3 videos on LUFS already that are highly detailed. You should definitely check those out, Harsh. Thanks, SLP. It says I only have one person watching on from YouTube, but somehow both of you are talking at the same time. I have no idea how that's working. What was I about to do? What was I saying? Oh, I was about to say LUFS. I always make my beats -1 true peak with I recommend downloading Ulean loudness meter. I'll show what that looks like if you don't know what that is. It's free. But yeah, your integrated loudness, this is like the most important thing for LUFS. Usually my tracks are ranging anywhere from 11 to 14. 14 being the lowest and 11 being the loudest. Every once in a while it might be like 10.5 or something, but that's me going nuts. I mean, that's something you could do on your own, Harsh. Take some notes while you're watching the vid. Whatever you think is important from those videos that you want to translate over to your mastering. I always encourage people to kind of do some work on their own. Like, I provide a lot of information, a lot of free stuff. But I can't do everything for you guys. Yeah, besides that, that's really all that you need to know. Definitely use that loudness penalizer website too, because then you could literally hear what it's going to sound like before you even upload it wherever. Something that I notice about BeatStars, like their whatever their compression algorithm is, I don't know if they even have one, but it reminds me a lot of SoundCloud in terms of like how loud you can make your beats. Like, you can make them, it doesn't seem like they have anything, any type of normalization going on with their on their charts. So you'll hear different volumes for different beats. But one thing that you can do, just download some of your favorite ones that have, free downloads available. And then you can measure with Ulean loudness meter and then go off of that if you're trying to match something that you're hearing on BeatStars. And same thing with YouTube. I mean, it's no secret that people download music off of YouTube. That is what I would recommend. And most importantly, just use your ears. But yeah, there's like so many free kits. Let me go into my drums again. Drums 2, kits. A majority of these kits are free. Let me see how big this folder is. Like the last kit that I bought was from I'm pretty sure I have that somewhere here. Yeah, the My Super Drums Volume 1. I thought I downloaded Volume 3. But yeah, either way, out of all these kits, I think this is the only one that I paid for. There might be another one in here that I'm not remembering. Oh, this black 808 drum kit. These are like recycled old school samples, but he was selling it on Instagram, but he gave it to me for free. But that would be a good start in terms of getting like traditional trap drums, because he has quite a bit in here. Just really classic stuff. I judge kits a lot off of what their kicks and 808s sound like. If their kicks and 808s aren't good, then I don't even mess with the rest of the kit. Lava City, I ran into him again recently on Reddit. But I was telling him, he was asking me about something, but I was telling him that I really like his kits. But he was doing like a free kit every month for like a year, or maybe a couple years. Yeah, that's a nice kick right there. Yeah, these kicks up here, they're no joke. I don't remember using his 808s though. Yeah, those aren't bad. All these are free, guys. Like, just put in some work. Put in a little bit of effort. Yeah, I definitely agree, SLP, because like the way that I hear things and the way that I honestly think that I hear high end very differently than a lot of people, because when I was doing my 30-day beat challenge, I wasn't really mixing that hard. Like I was just doing basic mixes, but a lot of people were pointing out how my high end sounded just really crisp and really spacious. But that's something that I guess I pay a lot of attention to. And that's something that the human ear, like over time, that's the first thing that you lose. You start losing like the higher end frequencies as you get older. But I'm still pretty good at hearing them, so I try to do my best to make those sound nice and exciting. Like that's where all the ear candy comes from. Like the bass, 808 and kick, all that stuff is like the foundation. But if you want to catch someone's attention, you got to have those synths and the airy stuff, like really not overly bright and not, not too quiet either. There's a delicate balance with that. That's why I really love those U87 mics, because like the high end on those are just like, it's pretty much what you hear on so many records. That and the Sony C800. I think I'm getting that right. Sony C800. That microphone's like $6,000. And the U87 is like $2,000 or $3,000. But there's this guy that makes Mike Jolly. Back in the day, he used to make clones of those mics, like imitations, and he was selling those for $200. And I swear, like, he did A/B tests where you could listen to the audio files online, and man, they were identical. In some cases, it sounded better. But $200. He doesn't do it anymore though. Like, but there's someone else that's making mics just like that. So you could get like a really high quality mic for like $200 to $400 for sure. But if I ever get a microphone again, that's definitely what I'll be purchasing. This mic right here is, this one was $100. This was given to me by one of my friends. I have another mic that I paid like $20 for, and it came with this stand right here. But I literally bought it just for the stand, not for the mic, so that I could do tutorials and stuff. Because the mic stand that I have right here, it's just straight. So like, it's kind of hard to get the mic exactly where I want it. And play piano and make beats and all that all at the same time. Let's see, it's been like an hour. Let me go through some of the sounds in Flex and try and remember what I liked about it and what I didn't like about it. I'm going to load this up in Patcher just in case I want to save anything. Actually, you know what I want to do? I'm going to pull up one of my presets, and then I'm going to use these effects on Flex. No problem, Harsh. You're definitely most welcome. Let's see, Twilight Chords. Yeah, there was someone on in my YouTube comments this morning saying that my template was clickbait because they had to they couldn't figure out ManyChat, which is the chat bot that sends you the link. And I was like, well, it's not meant for everyone, I guess. If you can't figure that out, you're not going to figure out the template. That's just real talk. Like, if you don't know how to enter in your email, you're not going to figure out how to use my template. Actually, let me see what this preset even sounds like. I don't even know what this originally was. Oh, let me click on the correct. That is my number one gripe. I know I talked about it before, but like, if I'm in a window with a plugin in it, I want to control that plugin. Like, I don't want to have to go to the channel rack and click on that window again. Okay. Good old expand. Let me delete that, and then I'm going to hook this up to this plugin chain that I have. And I'm going to hook this up to the direct out as well, so that we can A/B with the effects and without the effects. Let's see if we can find some cool stuff with this. Oh, I got to turn that off too. There we go. Oh, I guess I gotta... No, I'm not gonna do that. Let's go to Arc Sun Cityscape. I remember a lot of these were pretty good. Yeah, I have some of these highlighted actually. I'm gonna have to increase my buffer. That might sound good layered together. That's pretty dope. Not a fan of that delay though. Let me change the timing. Let me tap this tempo out. You know, I'm just now realizing that overall flex is probably more meant to be played in regular time versus halftime. Yeah, for sure. I'll have to keep that in mind. And there goes my 10-year-old computer. And this is with full buffer all the way on. Let me change my project settings. That'll help it out. Change this to 24. Yeah, I think I already saved my favorite ones out of this pack. Let me try some of these other ones. Like, I could already tell by the name of this, Punch It. I'm not gonna like it. It's a good bass sound. Oh, I'm totally getting copyrighted for that. I don't recognize it or anything, but it's so basic. I'm sure there's a song that already has that in it. I think in a couple of weeks, I'm gonna switch the live over to my main channel just to see what happens. I just don't want to... If you guys watched... do you guys watch Producer Grind at all? Let me know if you guys watch Producer Grind. And if not, you're welcome. You should. Spatial fire. I like that. I'm going to save this one as is. What should I save that as? Good string layer. Producer grind, anybody? Anybody watch that? Hell no. Nope. Have you guys seen the episode with Gabe from Legion Beats and the more recent one with Anno Domini? It was funny watching Anno Domini on there because he was name dropping people that I was really familiar with, but the guys on the show, the hosts, Dylan and all of them, JB and Karantina, they're like, I have no idea who Wishmaster is, or who else did he name drop? Shadowville. Dude, those guys are legends. My first FL Studio drum pack ever came from Wishmaster. Like, that was one of the biggest drum packs ever. Like, the most cycled, what's the word that I'm looking for? The most, I don't know. But a lot of people had that drum pack when, around the FL Studio 4 era. But yeah, him, Ozone, those guys made some crazy, 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 crazy beats. But yeah, that tells you how long I've been around too. Yeah, I came in like right after SoundClick kind of started popping. Had a few tracks on the charts. That's getting copyrighted. Man, I want to play fast, but the lag on here is so ridiculous. Actually, that's a pretty nice pluck. I might save that. Needs a little bit of tweaking. Plucks. I can call this basic pluck. It is pretty basic, but that's a good foundation. That is when I'm using SLP. Audio settings. Focusrite USB ASIO. It's at its full setting. It is at its full setting. What I could do is switch to my M audio. I don't know if you guys can even hear this. No, I can't. My M audio sound card has a higher buffer rate. It actually has 4 times the buffer rate as this, but I'm using that to for the mic. Or no, I'm not. I'm using that for my computer audio. So like the FL Studio audio, my mic audio, all that is going through my M audio sound card, and then that goes out to my streaming software. But yeah, the reason I brought up Anno Domini was because he, or maybe it was Gabe that was saying it, but they're both kind of saying how their social media pretty much sucks. And that made me think maybe I shouldn't worry too much about my YouTube getting hurt from live streaming on my main channel, and I should just go with it and let it happen, just to make things easier on my end, and then just do the back end work in terms of business and focus on that and not worry so much about my social medias, because they both made over $1 million last year. They're the first online producers to do that. It always feels overwhelming when I see people like you who do it for decades and still humble. Well, thanks. It always reminds me to be a good human first before becoming a good producer. Yeah, that's some good personal advice, I'd say. I mean, I don't see why being a bad person would help you. That'd be weird. I don't think that's ever happened where being a bad human was an advantage. Maybe during the caveman days where it was like every man for himself. But yeah, the whole reason I started a YouTube channel was just to give out free information and help other producers. Like, I just thought of it in a way where if I was just now getting started, what would I want to see on a YouTube channel? Like, how could I make it easier for someone to learn without having to watch 14 or 27 different YouTube channels? Like, out of all the tutorials out there, only 10% of them are good. Like, 1 out of 10 tutorials that I watch are actually good. But that also depends on the channel too, because there's definitely some solid channels out there. And it depends on what your goals are. Like, there's a lot more, like, in the mixing engineer world. I just had this conversation with someone on Reddit. Like, they're name dropping some people in their circle, and he was basically bragging that, hey, we got Grammys over here. Like, we do too. Like, we my circle, the guy wasn't very familiar with the circle that I'm in, and I basically just broke it down that, I mean, I was very familiar with the people that he was talking about, but at the end of the day, he was talking about mixing engineers and mastering engineers, and I was talking about producers. So it shouldn't be like this whole producers versus engineers thing. I feel like I'm somewhere right in the middle. Like, I love watching mix engineers talk about mixing and mastering. And I think that's why I'm so different from a lot of the other channels, because I do go into a lot of detail about that, but in the producer community anyway. But I mean, there's hardly a week that goes by where one of our producers isn't in the top charts. There's hardly a week that goes by. So it's, apples and oranges here. Like, there's accolades on both sides. But yeah, I try to bridge that gap where producers learn how to mix and engineer themselves, and help engineers learn how to produce, if that's really what they're looking to do. Because nowadays, I mean, you kind of have to do both if you're really trying to do more than just make a decent living. Like, if you really want to eat, like, make good bread, I feel like you got to do both. I think that's why the EDM community is so strong. Because if you're good at EDM, that means 2 things. You're good at producing, and you're good at mixing, and you might be good at mastering. So it might be 3 things. And I think that's what sets apart that community from, say, the trap producer community or the engineering community. Like these are guys that can go to Vegas and get residency or do a world tour and make millions of dollars. You're not finding too many producers that can do that or too many engineers that can do that. But when you combine the two, that's what you get in the EDM community. But there's no reason that you can't do that, in either or. That's how you get Russ. I'm sure you guys know who Russ is. But yeah, it's a guy that mixes, produces, raps. He's his own artist. He tries to be as independent as possible. I tried my best to pay attention to the rap community because, it's important to know where the sound is going, and I feel like, or where the sound is at the moment, I guess. That way, as a producer, you can figure out what to do next. Which reminds me about, the weird, well, maybe it's not weird. I guess it makes sense, but how people are saying to just use loops. Like, yeah, that makes sense. But, if you're really trying to do this for a while, like, live off of this, it's going to be really hard for you to get started and stay consistent by using, the same loops that are being sent to other producers that they're using, Like, it's already hard enough to stay consistent on your own without other people having your sound. And of course, you can go in and basically what you're banking on with using loops, what you're banking on is that you make better drums. And that's pretty hard to do. That is pretty hard to do. Or what you're banking on is that you're better at flipping the loop. And that's pretty hard to do too, because sometimes better isn't necessarily what's going to sell, because the people that have those same exact loops are in the studio with the artist, or they don't even have to be in the studio with the artist. All these hot loop packs that everyone's buying, these other guys have them too. And it's really more about the connection that you have with the artist when it gets to that point, when everyone has the same loop. But on top of that, I feel like it's easier to make a connection with an artist worldwide, like just globally. Like it's just easier to make more connections if you have your own sound. And sure, you can make your own sound using loops, but again, like that is your chances of getting known off of that is really, really slim compared to just having your own sound and being able to do your own thing that no one else is able to do. Yeah, I definitely look at mixing and mastering as a part of producing nowadays. And then, like I said, there's guys like Sound Oracle, who I'm a huge fan of. Like, think about this. Like, Sound Oracle eats pretty good. He's down there in Atlanta. But that's the guy that's making the loops. He's doing a lot better than these guys that are trying to use other people's loops and get noticed. And then what are you going to do after that one hit that you got off of a loop? What are you going to do after that? Hope that you find another loop that no other producer used yet? Like, you're just making a path that's almost impossible for you to stay consistent in. But if you're the guy that's making the loops, and you're in an era where everyone wants to buy loops, do I need to really explain further? Like, I feel like people just need to actually get better at making music. and stop trying to find shortcuts, because that's what you're going to end up with, just a short if you take a shortcut, you're going to end up with a short career. But yeah, 2019, I just got back into this. 2020, I plan on really getting noticed out here. Almost every week I get someone saying, man, you should be so much bigger. I mean, I just started like months ago on YouTube. Better short than none. Yeah, but Cypher, it's more likely that you'll have none going that route. I totally agree, better short than none. But your chances of getting a career at all or getting a placement at all is by having your own sound. The chances that all right, peace out, Cypher. The chances of you finding a loop that no one else is flipping is very, very slim. But it definitely happens. Just not as often as, people that are in the studio with the artist or have connections already. They'll get picked over those other guys. On top of that, how quickly, like say you're selling beats online, and you're just, using loops, you might get some sales. I mean, nowadays, it seems like from, just the recent Producer Grind podcast, like the way that they really broke it down, like last year, I think it was last year, BeatStar's biggest day was $100,000. Like, it's really the same. Actually, let me put it this way, because Anal Domini really laid it out perfectly. Like, with the whole social media thing, because really BeatStars is a social media platform. Like, it gets to a point where really the only people that are getting seen are the guys at the top of the charts. And you're seeing the same guys at the top of the charts over and over again because they were there first. Like, they've been there for a while. And that's the deal with YouTube as well. So, like, a lot of the guys, like when you type in type beat or whatever, it's the guys that were doing it first that usually show up. The guys that stayed consistent and kept making type beats for like, it's been like almost 10 years now. So if you try to do that now, or try to get on the BeatStars top charts now, it's pretty difficult. Pretty difficult. So my best bet, me personally, I think it's to be different. You got to do something totally different. And I'm not saying not to use loops. Like, use loops for sure. Do your thing. But don't think that that means that you shouldn't learn how to make your own loops. Like, why cut yourself short? I think that's really my main point. Like, it really goes back to what I was saying about being a producer and an engineer at the same time. Like, there's just more money to be made if you actually learn the other stuff. Like, when I recommend using loops, I recommend using loops when you're just getting started and you're trying to learn how to make drums, or you're trying to learn how to mix, or you're trying to learn, like, there's a lot of benefits from using loops for sure. But if you're trying to learn how to sample, like, there's a lot of creativity that you can have or that you can put into just making a sample. But like I said, there's only so many creative ways that you can flip something. And at the end of the day, the guys that already have those connections with the same loops that you have, how much better is your flip of that loop versus these other guys that have already been doing it for a while and have these connections with these artists and labels? Like, the chances that your flip of that same loop is going to be picked over anyone else is slim to none. It's just a much lower percentage than someone hearing, man, where'd you get this? Where did this come from? Like, two completely different vibes. Let me take a look at my email real quick. Yeah, I have like 2 more episodes left of, what's that show? Rhythm and Flow. That was actually fun to watch. I was really surprised. Like, I didn't think that I was going to get into it, but I just started it like a couple days ago. That show is so much better than I thought it was going to be. What? Uh-huh.
It's fresh and dope music.
Oh, the volume's turned down on the video. Where's your flute from, Harsh?
Urge on the beat.
Yeah, I want same deal with the last beat. I want that kick to hit harder. But in terms of levels, everything's leveled pretty nicely.
Urge on the beat.
I want to hear a change up. That was definitely a good part to drop out, so that was good.
Urge on the beat.
I've definitely never heard of that VST. Morale? What kind of VST is that?
Urge on the beat.
Oh shit, Sicky Beats is about to post a video. Like the first time in like months. Sounds like a lame video though. Making a smooth R&B beat in FL Studio. I'm sure it'll be a good beat though. But just another
Urge on
regular
the beat.
ass video though. Yeah, pretty much the same critique as last time. Just good point, Test Nerd Pawn. Like, if you're gonna tag your beats, just tag it once. Just put it at the beginning. Tags don't keep your beat from getting stolen. They keep your beat from getting used at all. Especially if you're sending any of these to an artist. Like, no one's gonna rap on that. Or even practice rapping on it. It's a flute plugin that has 7 different Indian sounds. Cool. Yeah, I guess I could use more flute plugins. How much is it? I'm gonna try and look it up right now. Oh, it's free. Download free ethnic wind instrument plugin, Morale 2. Let's all take a look at this. Is it? Ah, it's only 32-bit. That's alright though. I do have some 32-bit plugins that I still use, like Hypersonic. Yeah, good point, Test Nerd Pawn. Yeah, if your hook is really good, yeah, there's a couple beats that I've heard where the hook plays like 2 or 3 times, like once at the beginning and definitely at the end, and then like, man, the rapper might just say your hook, like in the song. Yeah, bro, like the way that I plan on sending, like when I start sending for placements again, that tag is going to be totally separate. Like that tag will be an option. If they want to put the tag in, they can, and they can put it anywhere they want. Like I'm not going to have it on the beat. Yeah, tags aren't doing anyone any favors. Unless, you know, it's actually in the track that gets released. That will do you a favor. But hell, if you have that tag in the email, that they might decide to put it in there. I think that's your best bet. Let me look at this other site. That's cool. I don't think I'm going to download it though. I do have some decent flutes that are 64-bit. I'll probably just stick with those for now. Are you guys familiar with Redtron? That's probably my favorite flute right now. I've used that in a few beats. Yeah, anyone that steals your beat isn't worth, yeah, spending any time over at all. Yeah, anyone that's, anyone that you actually want a placement with, they're not stealing your stuff. I'll say that that has happened before, but literally 10 times out of 10, every time I've heard that story, it was always an accident. Like, they always end up going back and figuring out who the producer was. 10 times out of 10. I've never heard the story where, oh, my beat got stolen, I got in contact with them, and nothing happened. It's still stolen. There's nothing I could do about it. I've never heard that story. Not from anyone, legit. I've been good, my dude. I've been good. Where are you from, Test Pond? Test Nerd Pond. Let me pull up one of my tracks with Redtron in it. And then I'll pull up Redtron so you guys could see what it looks like. I think I used it in a live before. Philly, that's dope. That's where Johnny Giuliano's from. Philly. JohnnyGiuliano.com. That's how he ended up hooking up with Wiz. Yeah, let me show you guys this, my favorite flute plugin. I'm going here. Redtron extras, orchestral, Redtron. What's the weather like out there right now? I just recently moved up to Michigan and it's cold as hell right now. The opposite of hell. That's dope. Yeah, there's a lot of rappers out in Philly. Oh shit, there you go. 45 minutes outside of Philly. Rained yesterday? Yeah, it snowed yesterday here. I think most of it melted though, but barely. Let me pull up the... Oh, it's already on flute. See, again, I gotta switch over. I hate doing that. Yeah, this is my favorite flute, or plugin for like Q-beat style instruments. That's free. I think the best one that's paid is Miroslav's Philharmonic 2. That junk is insane. Insane. Like, still to this day, I'll hear a new sound that I haven't heard from it. Like, I'll hear a beat and I'm like, oh, where the heck is that sound from? That instrument, that orchestral instrument. They'll always say Philharmonic 2. Like, that is just nuts. But just like, it surprises me like how much better it is than Contact. Because Contact, man, they have some really good sampled instruments, but IK Multimedia, they just got it right with Philharmonic. They absolutely got it right. And back in the day, I didn't even like their sampled instruments, like Sample Tank. I hated that thing. I hated the sounds of all of their instruments in there. Like, they all sounded fake, even though they're real recorded instruments. Man, you guys should collab. SLP makes all of his beats on his phone. It's crazy. But you could like make a beat on your phone, or make a loop or something on your phone, and then like email that to Test Nerd. Tessner, do you have any music online that we can listen to that you care to share? No big deal if you don't want to. I totally understand. Not a big deal. Somewhere. Somewhere out there. Any of you guys into UFC at all? I'm like totally obsessed with these fights that are coming on this weekend. Like I'm heavy into MMA, but this weekend's about to be insane. No worries. No worries at all. I'm gonna go through some more of these seamlesser bases. Try to find some more that I like for trap. You watch more boxing than UFC? Man, boxing is dope right now. Especially that heavyweight division. They're going ham in there. Like, this is the best the heavyweight division has been since I was born. No, not since I was born, but since, well, honestly, yeah. Yeah. I mean, growing up, I feel like all I really had to watch was Tyson. I mean, you know, Tyson's a big deal. That's, you know, one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. But Holyfield, who is even better than Tyson. Lennox Lewis. But other than that, there was like 3 guys that I really cared about. Yeah, I don't think boxing will ever have the draw that it used to. They messed all that up. Yeah, Roy Jones Jr. was my favorite guy to watch. Hands down. Like, for me personally, I personally believe he's pound for pound the greatest boxer of all time. I like watching Vasily Lomachenko. Like, he is fun to watch. He is fun to watch. That guy is super technical. And the way he just moves around guys is just hilarious. Like, he's a freaking matador in there. Yeah, I figured that's how Caustic Mobile probably handled exporting. Yeah, I was sure there was a way to get stems out or whatever you need out of that program to work in any other program. Yeah, Roy Jones. Yeah, yeah. Multiple times, too. Oh, well, knock the dude out? Yeah, yeah, knock the dude out. No. Yeah, he did the hands behind his back thing quite a bit, but yeah, there was that time there he actually KO'd a guy from it. Definitely like one of the most embarrassing knockouts that you could even imagine, that you could even come up with. Man, it was so sad to see him start losing fights to lesser guys like Antonio Tarver. Man, I was never an Antonio Tarver fan. Tarver is doing bare knuckle fighting commentary now. But honestly, he sounds like, I don't want to say he's like punch drunk. He's definitely not at that point, but I can tell like it's not 100% him. Yeah, Tarver was yeah, Tarver felt like, yeah, if I beat Roy Jones, then I'm pound for pound the greatest fighter. I'm like, nah. No, you're not. I would say my favorite fight of all time. Well, That's kind of hard to say, but like one of the fights that stands out is Mayweather versus Corrales before Corrales died, passed away. That was one of that fight was freaking unbelievable. But I could think of some better fights just off the top, like Marco Antonio Barrera, his trilogy with Eric Morales. That junk was, whew, that was fun to watch. So evenly matched. I think that's why I loved those. Love those fights. Gotti versus Ward. That trilogy was crazy. But yeah, I really want to see Wilder and Fury fight again. That definitely needs to happen. Facts. Facts, test nerd. Facts. I definitely hella enjoyed Mayweather McGregor. That was really fun to watch. Because I really didn't know what was going to happen. Because I think everyone assumed that Mayweather was going to win. But, like, how he was going to win, like how hard the fight was going to be or how easy the fight was going to be, I had no idea. But I knew that Mayweather was definitely going to win. Exactly. Like McGregor came out looking decent, and that was just shocking. Like I would have been shocked either way. Like if Mayweather got super handled, or if Mayweather came out looking decent, or if Mayweather came out and actually won. Like I felt like all those scenarios were kind of, I really didn't know what to think, in terms of what was going to happen. Nah, I'm going to have to pass on that SLP because I don't have time to even invest into trying to learn another DAW. That's why I haven't, well, besides money, that's why I haven't switched over to Ableton to start learning that. But eventually I will get Ableton, but it's when I have a lot more time on my hands. Like after I get these placements, I'll start venturing over to Ableton. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, McGregor actually won rounds. Yeah, he won rounds. Those are facts. Like I'm pretty sure that's what happened on the actual scorecards. Not just public opinion, but I think the scorecards actually represented that as well. That uppercut was scary. Like he definitely hurt Mayweather with that uppercut. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We all knew that he didn't have the type of endurance to do a full 12 the way that a Mayweather could, especially after the Diaz fights. Like it was just blatantly obvious that he's not a boxer. He ain't about that life. He needed to jump more rope. He didn't put in enough time jumping rope. I'm excited to see him come back and fight Khabib again because he brought up some really interesting points because I know you don't really watch MMA as much, but one, I do know that McGregor was hurt before that fight, but two, I'm talking about the Khabib fight, his last fight, but two, like I was surprised how long it took Khabib to finish McGregor on the ground. And that's something that McGregor pointed out too. He was like, yeah, I don't feel like, or he felt like that they overestimated his grappling. And sure enough, yeah, that's what it looked like. They just spent way too much time. Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, those pay-per-views are expensive. For sure. I mean, same deal with boxing. Yeah, I think I spent like Was it like $100 for the Mayweather Pacquiao fight? But we had like 20 people there, so it was like $5 a person, so it didn't matter. I think all the UFC fights are like 60. Or the pay-per-views anyway. How much are boxing pay-per-views now? Like what's the price for what was the price for Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder? Yeah, that makes sense. $100. Yeah, I feel like they need to charge $100. And plus, like a lot of people that watch boxing that are willing to even get a pay-per-view at all, they have money. They typically have money. That's why their tickets are so much more expensive too. Yeah, boxing is not going anywhere for a while. I mean, it's never going anywhere. Like I was worried that it was definitely dying, but with the way the heavyweight division came back and just the sheer amount of money that's in it from the fans that like to go, like there's just so much money in it. Yeah, usually nowadays, yeah, I watch the fights after they air. That's the way I am. But yeah, this totally turned into a martial arts conversation. I think I'm going to go ahead and call it here. It's been an hour 45. But unless anyone wants to submit any more music or anything, I think I'm going to call it. Give you guys a second to respond. Yeah, I'm probably gonna post another tutorial on about Flex tomorrow, so we'll have one extra tutorial this week instead of my usual